name is McKee Woods. I am 28 years old and I'm currently living in Williamsburg. I come from a rough area in Chicago. I was just raised to live my life on this, path toward God, and this very biblical, ancient idea of God. And I don't think that's uncommon. I think a lot of people have that experience. In a lot of ways, I always knew that I was a little different from the other kids. I was often teased about my mannerisms, and my dad used to get upset with me because he said that I had a switch in my walk, and now I understand that is sashaying, which is actually really fierce, but at the time, as a little kid, I just thought, God, everything I ever do is wrong, so I just felt inherently wrong, which is a lot of, I feel like no child should have to have that much shame. But I remember when I was 8 years old, I was listening to TLC and Madonna and even Liz Phair, and these were women that I really admired and kind of looked up to. And I think it was because of their messages of empowerment. They were always coming from this place of strength and letting other women know that they were had the same privileges and rights in this world as men, and should therefore own their place in the world. And I remember telling my dad that I thought I was a feminist. Not really knowing what it meant, but I just told him that I thought, and maybe I heard it in a song, I don't remember where I heard it, and he was like, do you know what that means? And me and all my 8-year-old wisdom, I'm just I think it's when women are equal to men. I think it's when women are able to do the same things in this world as men. So I feel almost that started my coming out journey, and it was just sort of this slow process towards self-actualization. When I first tried to come out to my family, I tried to do it in a way that I thought would be most socially acceptable. So I said that I was bisexual, and that wasn't really true. I knew that my orientation was sort of more queer-leaning, which is to say more all-encompassing. My attractions throughout my life have sort of been a range of many things. I've been attracted to trans people, I've been attracted to other cis people like myself, cis men, cis women. I've been attracted to gender non-conforming individuals. I actually personally consider myself a gender non-conformist, but that's later. I've sort of really discovered that in life. But I don't know why. I guess I thought, my dad seeing me as a boy and his son, he sort of named me after him. My real name is Michael, but no one calls me that. I've always been Nikki. And, I guess he wanted me to sort of take after him. And I just thought, well, if I tell him that I sort of have girls, then that's fine. And I remember his response very clearly was, you have to pick one. You can't just have you either like men or, just very much in that binary that we all sort of come up with in American society. And I remember fundamentally disagreeing with him. I'll say this much about my household. In addition to the religiosity and the conservatism, there was some love, but the love was limited. It was conditional. I felt as long as I sort of fit a certain mold or a stereotype, I had access to that love. But the second I deviated away from it, it was sort of deprived from me. I remember trying to go on dates and go take girls to prom and to dances, and it being something that I was pseudo comfortable with, because I just felt it was sort of forced upon me. It was something that I had to do in order to fit in. At the beginning of my sort of sexual coming out journey, I was primarily involved with other men, and by this point I was 17, 18, and I was living with friends. I was no longer living at home. It became an environment that I felt was unsafe in its volatility. And I felt free in a lot of ways to sort of do what came naturally to me, and I don't know, a lot of my journey and exploration and identity has come about through sort of being forced to figure it out myself. I'm just trying to like live in my truth a day at a time, and you know, I have a lot more support today than I had in the past. Like I said, a lot of my journey has been very like kind of self-created. I've had to figure out a lot of things on my own. I've had to go through immense therapy and other forms of counseling to kind of heal from a lot of the trauma, you know, that I experienced as a young queerling. It's something I'm still working through, and I think I've come a long way. But I think probably one of the next steps of my coming out journey is beginning to tell some stories myself from my experience. I am a screenwriter. It's part of my purpose. To help make it a little bit easier for people going through varying stages of their own journeys. I feel like people might want to categorize me and put me in boxes and say, oh, you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. Look at you. You appear this way. You're supposed to be this thing. We want you to be this thing. But I don't feel any certain pressure to really live up to that. I don't feel like I'm necessarily male. I don't feel like I'm female. I just feel like I'm me. And whatever that is, you know, me, I feel like whoever I am, I feel like I'm closer to that now than I've ever been. And I feel like that's an extremely freeing place to be. And I feel really free. So I do feel like in this lifetime, it's my duty to try to help, encourage, inspire, be compassionate toward, spread messages of hope, of love, of transformation. Because I think we're all going through our own transformation, actually, at the end of the day, on a very human level. And in that transformation comes a great degree of freedom, regardless of what society says. I said so much, I don't even know what I said.